Absolutely. Here's a short story set in the darker alternate universe where Shadybug and Claw Noir reside. This version explores their world while giving a glimpse of the glimmers of hope they have for something better. Title: A Spark in the Shadows. In a world steeped in shadow and strife, Paris looked nothing like the City of Lights. Here the streets were shrouded in perpetual twilight, and laughter was a rare, fragile thing. Citizens went about their lives cautiously, casting nervous glances toward the rooftops, where two of the city's most feared figures kept watch: Shadybug and Claw Noir. Their powers, so similar to those of Ladybug and Cat Noir from the main universe, had become twisted by this world's bleakness. Shadybug's costume was a haunting black and red, her eyes sharp and calculating. She wore an expression of cynicism and anger as she leapt between rooftops, her partner Claw Noir, a darker, more ruthless version of Cat Noir, following her closely. Their mission was simple, given to them by the tyrannical monarch: seek out and retrieve the miraculouses of their world's rare remaining heroes and rebels. Each day they followed orders, crushing any trace of resistance to keep Monarch's power absolute. Yet for all their supposed loyalty, a small part of them both felt hollow. It was during one of their patrols that Claw Noir spoke up, his voice soft, almost wistful. "Do you ever wonder what it'd be like if we didn't have to do this?" Shadybug shot him a glare, but there was something less certain in her eyes. "What do you mean? This is what we're here for. Monarch gave us a purpose, power. Without this, we'd be nothing." Claw Noir hesitated. He'd seen glimpses, just enough to wonder if things could be different. "I've heard rumors," he said slowly, "about a world where we're not like this, where we're actually heroes. People love us. We help them." Shadybug scoffed, though she couldn't shake a pang of something deep inside. Was it curiosity or maybe even longing? "That's a fairy tale. We'd have to be fools to believe something like that." But Claw Noir shrugged, glancing at the night sky. "Just because it's a fairy tale doesn't mean it isn't possible. Maybe it's just that nobody's ever tried to make it real." As they continued patrolling, Claw Noir pointed toward an alley where a young girl was hiding, clutching a small plant in her hands. It was rare to see any greenery in their world, and rarer still to see someone who hadn't given up on small, beautiful things. Before Shadybug could react, Claw Noir was beside the girl, kneeling down. "What's that you've got there?" he asked gently. The girl looked up, fear in her eyes, but she swallowed and held out the tiny plant. It's a flower," she said quietly. "It's from the last patch of green we have left. I wanted to keep it safe." Shadybug felt an unexpected pang of sympathy. Once, she'd loved flowers too, back before Monarch had taken her under his wing, filling her heart with bitterness and mistrust. Seeing the girl's small act of rebellion, a single flower defying the grayness of the world, stirred something long buried in her. Claw Noir gave Shadybug a sidelong glance, as if asking for permission. She opened her mouth to tell him they should confiscate it, that it was their job to stamp out rebellion in all forms, but the words wouldn't come. Instead, she surprised herself. "Keep it hidden," she murmured to the girl. "Don't let anyone see it. If they do, they'll take it from you." The girl's face lit up with gratitude, and she nodded, dashing off into the shadows. Claw Noir turned to Shadybug, his expression unreadable. "Maybe there's a part of you that doesn't want to keep doing this after all." Shadybug clenched her fists, trying to shove the feelings away. "Don't read into it," she snapped. "We have orders." But even as they continued their patrol, Shadybug felt a growing sense of unease. The girl's flower, so small and fragile, seemed to burn in her mind as a symbol of something she'd nearly forgotten: hope. She stole a glance at Claw Noir, and for the first time saw him not just as her partner in darkness, but as someone who might be her ally in finding a way out. Later that night, they sat together on a rooftop, silent and lost in thought. The city stretched out before them, a dark expanse punctuated by flickering streetlights. Shadybug's mind was racing, weighed down by doubt and something strangely close to guilt. Could there be another path for them? One where they weren't feared but loved? "Maybe it's not a fairy tale," Claw Noir murmured, as if reading her mind. Shadybug glanced at him, a faint spark of hope flickering in her own eyes. "Then maybe. We should find out." The two shared a long, silent look, an unspoken agreement passing between them. They would keep up the act for now, continue serving Monarch, but only until they found a way to escape his grip. And when they did, they'd try to become the heroes their world so desperately needed. Together, they could be the ones to bring light back to this darkened Paris. And for the first time in what felt like forever, Shadybug and Claw Noir felt like there was something worth fighting for.